DC appears to be planning on showing up at SDCC in a big way, and it looks like animation is going to be front and center. Let's break down the recent news about DC animation, what they're going to be sharing with us, and the possibilities of maybe some surprises. Well, if you remember correctly, Warner Brothers in DC was pretty much a no-show back in 2023. They did have a booth, but they didn't put on anything very big, and Sassoff left fans pretty disappointed. But now we've got a pretty interesting update on what they're bringing us, and there's going to be a lot of animation. Now, before we do this though, I wanted to give a shout out to my favorite podcast, Who Would Win? Who Would Win is a geek and comedy podcast that debates battles between superheroes and villains from worlds of comics, sci-fi, and fantasy. It's one of my favorite podcasts out there. You should check out the link down below in the description. Well, like I was saying, DC is going to be bringing it pretty big at SDCC, and animation seems to be leading the way. Now, not only are we likely to get a lot of announcements, they are bringing us a world premiere of Justice League War World, which I know a lot of people are more than a little excited about. Now, War World is expected to premiere on Friday night, July the 21st, so fans at the conference are going to get their first look at the upcoming projects. We did get a bit of an expanded description of the upcoming rated R film. It appears Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman will find themselves in mysterious lands and precarious circumstances, but interestingly enough, they will have no memory on how they arrived at these locations, only vague recollections of their true selves. This means those aspects of this film that are set in other areas, like Warlord Scar Terrace or the Old West with Jonah Hex, are going to see these heroes doing their own thing, not knowing who they are. Also, on preview night in Ballroom 20, they're going to drop a new episode of Teen Titans Go, as well as the first episode of Superpowered the DC Story, both of which should leave the room pretty packed. Now, additionally, on Thursday, July the 20th, Max Original Presentations is going to dive big into the animation corner of what's about to show up at HBO Max. Now, we do know part of this will focus on the new Adventure Time and another series called Young Love, but Harley Quinn Season 4 is going to be front and center during this presentation, and that should have all of us pretty excited. With a scheduled preview that's more than likely going to be an episode or two screened for fans early before the show releases at the end of July. Now, they also say we are going to get some surprises during this presentation, and this should have fans pretty excited. There are big hopes, especially on this corner of the internet, that WB and DC will be dropping some news on Young Justice. Now, we've got no official update on that front, and Greg Weisman has said once before he's not going to SDCC, but those plans could have changed, and it's something we want to watch closely, because as of right now, it is our best chance of getting any news on a new season of Young Justice. It's really hard to believe that Warner Brothers and DC Animation have ignored exactly how popular this show is. It's really been about finding a new path back to life, and given how many projects have moved over to Amazon, Young Justice returning to life has to be at the forefront of discussions internally for Warner Brothers Animation. Hopefully all this works out for us fans. I also expect during this presentation, if there's any new animated movies, like the ones that are going to be coming at us in 2024, this will be where those announcements happen, and we're likely to get some pretty cool insight into what's coming down the pipe. Now, additionally, we're going to get a couple updates on the DC Universe on Webtoon. We're going to see DC Editor-in-Chief Marie Davis, along with creators from Batman, The Wayne Family Adventures, Vixen, New York City, and Red Hood. And the discussion is going to focus on bringing those superheroes and projects to the Webtoon platform. If you're unfamiliar with Webtoons, it's not a full-on animated series, but they're basically motion comics, which are most of the time quite a bit of fun and inexpensive enough to produce that they take some risks and go into some content that doesn't make it into the mainstream. So it should be pretty cool to check out. Now, obviously, SDCC is going to bring us a ton of stuff, so stay tuned. We're going to be covering it closely. I know Warner Brothers and DC are looking forward to the future of their franchises, and I think this will be the place to put them on display.